Grandma's smile. My grandma came to live with us a couple of years ago now, a result of her Alzheimer's stripping her of what little independence she had left. Originally, my parents thought it would be better than just dumping her in a nursing home, though I think all of us underestimated the challenges of looking after a fully grown adult. So, after much reluctance, off they went for the weekend, whilst I stayed at home to look after Nan. To be honest, I'd insisted. I knew how much they'd been struggling, stressing about the cost of a care home, let alone the guilt of realizing she'd become too much of a burden to look after while still working full-time jobs. I just hoped when they got back, they could look at the whole situation with a fresh head. A couple of days wasn't much of a problem anyway. Once Nan was out of bed, it's not like she needed much. Other than the odd trip to the bathroom, she just sat there in front of her TV, unresponsive, vacant, oblivious to the world. Kinda sad, really. It was a slow Saturday evening. Nan was in her chair in the living room as always. Although I could have just left her alone, I chose to sit next to her though. Even if she didn't know it, I didn't want her to be there by herself. I just read my book as the TV droned on, glancing over from time to time just to make sure she was okay. Her expression never really changes though. It had gotten pretty dark outside. I was so lost in my book I didn't even notice the time. I looked up to check on Nan. She was still just sitting there as normal. No. Wait. She wasn't staring at the TV anymore, but at the window. I looked around. There was nothing. I got up and knelt down beside her, placing my hand upon hers. Are you okay there, Nan? No response as normal. Her hands were cold to the touch. She looked panicked, just staring at the window. There was a tremendous knock on the door. Who the hell was that at this time of night? I gave Nan a quick kiss on the forehead and rushed over to the front door. Slightly apprehensive, I peered through the peephole. There was no one. I opened the door. The street was empty. Fucking kids. Must have been someone playing a prank. I stood there for a minute or two, arms crossed looking up and down the road. Nothing. I slammed the door shut and wandered back inside. Nan was still just sitting there, though it's not exactly like she was going to roll away on me now. And so the night went on, Nan just watching the TV and I reading my book. But I couldn't help but feel uneasy. Something just felt off about the evening. We never get kids doing stupid things like that around here. It got to around 9 o'clock and it was time to get Nan ready for bed. I put down my book and turned off the TV. Time for bed now, I said to her as I began to wheel her chair to her bedroom. As I got her up and into bed, I couldn't help but notice how heavy she was for someone with such a frail, small old body. Though maybe I just wasn't used to doing this. Dad was the one that normally looked after her at night. She was his mum after all. I got her all tucked in, kissed her on the forehead, and went to turn off the light and leave. As I turned to close the door behind me, Nan was smiling at me. I haven't seen her smile in years. It was both nice yet unsettling. I closed the door shut. The evening went on as normal. I sat on the sofa just scrolling away on my phone to help numb my head before bed. I couldn't help feel off by the whole situation. Another hour or so had passed when I decided to call it a night. I just wanted to grab myself a warm drink before heading off upstairs for bed. As the kettle boiled away, I stood by the kitchen sink, just staring absent-mindedly outside of the window, admiring the moonlight as it bathed the back garden in a silvery glow. As my sleepy eyes phased in and out of focus, I noticed something off to the side, half sticking out of a bush that bordered the edge of the garden. I had to take a look. I left outside of the back door, flicking on my phone's torch as I slowly made my way up the garden, my feet becoming damp with the dew that clung to the grass. As I got closer to the bush, my light shining in front of me, I could start to make out a slipper. A slipper attached to a foot. My heart fell into my stomach the closer I got. As I stood over the bush, I saw her. The mangled corpse of my grandma. But no, it couldn't be. I gagged. I felt sick, confused. I felt the blood rush from my face as an icy cold spread throughout me. I backed away slowly. No, I wasn't thinking clearly. It was late. I was seeing things. I turned to go back inside and there she was. Nan. Standing there, smiling from the kitchen window.